Every great transformation begins with a single question. What if the greatest power you'll ever discover has been inside you all along? Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, and timeless wisdom come together to help you better understand yourself. In today's episode, we'll explore the hidden relationship between your conscious and subconscious mind, uncover why your thoughts quietly shape your reality, and learn practical techniques to work with your mind instead of against it. So, find a quiet moment, keep an open mind, and let's begin uncovering the incredible power already waiting within you. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're doing something really cool. We are literally unlocking the operating manual for the human mind. Have you ever felt like you've got this hidden goldmine of intelligence inside you just waiting to be tapped? Well, according to the fascinating source material we're digging into today, you absolutely do. We're going to uncover exactly how your conscious and subconscious minds interact, and how understanding these nuts and bolts can completely transform your reality. Okay, let's dive into this. Think about the sheer weight of the entire globe. That immense, almost incomprehensible weight perfectly represents the incredible power of our hidden mind. The foundational premise of our text is just so cool. You don't actually need to go out and acquire this power. You already have it. The intelligence inside you is vast, holding the capacity to heal, to guide, and literally shape your destiny. The real problem? Most of us just don't know how to wield it. And that brings us to a really staggering. Our source material points out that over 90% of your mental life is subconscious. Just think about that for a second. If you're only operating on a conscious level, you're navigating life using less than 10% of your actual mental capacity. It's like driving a sports car and never shifting at a first gear. Those who fail to understand and use their subconscious mind end up living within these very narrow, restricted limits. But don't worry, we're going to learn how to break past those limits today. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll open up the treasure house within, then compare the conscious versus subconscious mind. After that, we'll look at the power of suggestion, tackle removing your mental blocks, and finally wrap up with some really actionable techniques for subconscious programming. If you stick through the mechanics with me, you're going to be rewarded with some incredibly practical tools. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the treasure house within, tapping your inner gold. The core idea here is that infinite riches are just sitting all around us, provided we simply open our mental eyes to see them. There's a literal gold mine inside you from which you can extract everything you need to live joyously and abundantly, and this brilliantly illustrates the point. The text compares humans to pieces of steel. Get this, a magnetized piece of steel can lift 12 times its own weight. But if you demagnetize that exact same piece of steel, it won't even lift a feather. We see this mirrored in two types of people, right? The magnetized man is full of confidence and faith. He just knows he's born to win. But the demagnetized man, he's completely paralyzed by fears and doubts. When opportunities pop up, he's terrified of failing. So he just stays exactly where he is. The crazy part is, the difference isn't in their physical makeup at all. It's entirely in their dominant thoughts. Moving right along to Section 3, conscious versus subconscious mind, the captain and the crew. To really get the mechanics of this, I want you to think of your mind like a massive ship. Your conscious mind is the captain standing up there at the bridge. It's objective, it's reasoning, it's the one making the choices. The captain looks through the instruments and shouts the orders down below. Now your subconscious mind, that's the crew down in the dark engine room. It's subjective, it's highly creative. But here is the massive catch. The crew in the engine room has absolutely no idea where the ship is actually going. They just blindly follow the captains. So if the captain gives faulty instructions, that crew will steer the ship right onto the rocks without even second-guessing it. So we need to understand the unique quirks of that engine room crew, because the subconscious mind operates under some very strict rules of the game. First off, it works 24/7. It never rests. It literally controls all your vital bodily functions, your heartbeat, your digestion, without you ever having to consciously think about it. But crucially, it cannot argue or reason. It takes absolutely everything literally. I mean it literally. Not take a joke if you say I can't afford it. Your subconscious takes you at your word and goes to work creating that reality. It operates entirely on the law of belief, meaning it manifests whatever the conscious mind accepts as true. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the power of suggestion. How we actually program that engine room. There are basically two main ways this programming happens. First, there's auto-suggestion, which is when you suggest something definite and specific to yourself. Simple enough, right? Then there's heterosuggestion, which refers to suggestions that originate from another person. And this is so vital to grasp because let's be honest, since infancy the vast majority of us have been totally bombarded with negative heterosuggestions. Think about all the times growing up you heard you'll fail, or you can't do that, or you're doing it all wrong because we didn't know how to defend those office kids. Unconsciously accepted them, and they quite literally became our subconscious programming. So the crucial point is this. Your conscious mind has got to step up and act as the watchman at the gate. Its absolute primary function, its main job, is to protect your subconscious mind from those false impressions. You actually have the power to reject negative suggestions from others. If someone tells you you're going to fail, that suggestion has zero power in and of itself unless you mentally consent to it. Remember, you're the captain. You can just choose to reject it and protect your true. Let's look at some real-world applications in Section 4, removing your mental blocks. Let's see how people have actually hacked this mind interaction in practice. Take the famous operatic tenor Enrico Caruso. At the absolute height of his career, he was suddenly struck with paralyzing stage fright just minutes before a massive performance. We're talking his throat literally going into spasms. Sweat was pouring down his face. His conscious mind had been entertaining all these fearful thoughts. Things like they're going to laugh at me. I can't sing. And his subconscious engine room took those orders completely literally, shutting down his vocal cords in sheer panic. But Caruso understood the laws of his own mind. He knew he had to establish authority right then and there. So he literally shouted backstage. And I love this. The little me wants to strangle the big me within. Get out, get out. The big me is going to sing. By little me, he meant his fearful, overthinking, rational, conscious mind. And by big me, he was talking about the limitless power of his sub. He firmly commanded the irrational, fearful emotions of his subconscious to just step aside. And you know what? It worked. His subconscious responded to that authority, released the vital forces, and he walked out onto that stage and sang majestically. Here's another amazing, totally different example, the chemist Friedrich von Stratenitz. He'd been working laboriously, completely exhausting his conscious mind, trying to figure out the molecular structure of benzene. He just kept hitting a brick wall. So tired and frustrated, he deliberately turned the problem entirely over to his subconscious mind and just stopped obsessing over it. Well, shortly after, as he was just casually boarding a London bus, his subconscious flashed a sudden image into his mind. It was a snake biting its own tail and spinning around. Like a pinwheel, that single bizarre subconscious image gave him the exact answer he needed for the circular rearrangement of atoms that we now know as the benzene ring. Talk about a eureka moment. All right, Section 5. Techniques for subconscious programming. Taking the helm. Time for the actionable stuff. Let's move to and see how this builds a highly effective method called the passing over technique. This is a specific way of handing a request directly from the conscious watchman to the subconscious crew. It goes like, Step 1. Calmly think over exactly what you want. No stress, no coercion, just clarity. Step 2. Induce a drowsy reverie-like state. Just get really relaxed. And Step 3. Pass the request to the subconscious right before you fall asleep. Now you might be wondering why right before sleep? Well, it's because of the absolute wonders of sleep. Remember earlier, your subconscious never sleeps. It's working on your body and chewing on your problems all night long. The highest degree of outcropping of the sub, which actually occurs right prior to sleep, and then again just after we wake up in that drowsy, super relaxed state. Your conscious mind, that critical doubting watchman, is submerged. Conscious mental conflict is reduced to an absolute minimum, and that means the negative thoughts that usually shoot down your desires are totally out of the way, making it the absolute perfect, unimpeded window to impregnate your mind with a brand new blueprint. You literally have an unimaginably powerful crew working down in the engine room of your mind, tirelessly waiting for your commands. You are the watchman at the gate. You are the captain of your soul. Based on the mechanics we've explored today, the power is entirely in your hands. So I'm going to leave you with a question to really consider today. You're the captain. So what will you order your subconscious to build tonight? Let that sit with you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one. Your subconscious is listening far more often than you realize. Every belief you repeat, every emotion you rehearse, and every thought you accept becomes a blueprint for tomorrow. The real question isn't whether your mind is shaping your life. It's whether you're choosing the directions you're giving it. If this episode helped you see your mind in a new way, consider subscribing to Mind Over Matter and sharing it with someone who could benefit from it. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and remember, when you understand your mind, you begin to transform your life, one thought at a time.